Hello everyone, this is Chris Bassick with EWM in Miami Beach. In this video, we will show you how to compile a mailing list for a building. We will include both absentee owners and residents, current residents. As you can see here, I am typing in the address of the building in question. I have picked the building Onyx on the Bay for this example. Once I get all my results, I go to Create Mail Labels on the right navigational panel. I pick here occupant and replace first line with current resident. So your first space is occupant and current resident. Once I have that selected, I do create label as a text file and I generate my Excel file to bring up my Excel's worksheet. And at this point, it's just a question of cleaning up the worksheet. Some very simple procedures in that I'm deleting the unwanted columns that are not being used. To make things easier to look at, I essentially widen my columns, as you can see here. Once I'm happy with the results, I go in and I save it as a comma delimited file. It's important that you pick that option. So CSV is save type as I have here. Now the second time around, I'm going to look for my absentee owners. So I'm putting in the same address as I did before in my iMapp. Create mail labels, and instead of occupant, I'm using owner address. Replace first line name with plus current resident, and you'll see why later in this video. Create labels as a text file as I did before. Load it up on my Excel sheet. I am now deleting the first row. I don't need that. I'm deleting the column that's empty. As you go through your mailing list, delete the out of the country mailing address. And in this particular case, as you can see, there are some pieces of information in columns that can be shifted to the left, as I'm doing here. This I am shifting to the address column, so my data is consistent, as you can see here. Once I'm done with cleaning up this particular column, I'll be able to delete it. So now I have consistency in my data and that all the addresses are in column D. So I've deleted the one column that I don't need anymore. And while here, I'm basically going to highlight the entire worksheet and use this very simple function that is built into Excel called sort A to Z. I'm taking my C column, which is the address of the mailing address, I should say, of the owners, and I'm listing it in that by order. In doing so, it makes it easy for me to delete all the address shown as the building address, because I've already done it on the previous step. You know, we have the residence and occupant's address on the previous worksheet we've created. So there's no sense in my repeating that. And while here, because I've listed it by address, by mailing address, I can see there are some owners who have multiple units in the building using the same mailing address. I'm deleting the repeats. There's no sense of spending money on a mail out. You have to receive it once. Why show it? Why send it twice? So I'm taking all my repeats and basically cleaning up my database. So I'm up to 28 absentee owners in that building now, as you can see. And as before, I am saving it as a comma delimited file, save type as CSV. It's important to call it something that going to be easy for you to find later on. So in this particular case, I'm calling it absentee. Okay, now I'm going to go into my ewmrealtors.com and log into my business cards and postcards in xpressdocs. As shown over here, I go into my account and I go to manage mailing address. I'm going to browse to the files I've created before with my Excel, Onyx absentee and Onyx residence. I'm going to upload it, run through the wizard, and I'm going to map out the fields to ensure I have the right fields at the right places I'm doing here. Pretty self-explanatory, as you can see here. Update, and sure enough, you can see I have a very simple mailing list compiled for all the residents. It's important that you name your list as you get through the wizard. Make sure you name it to something you'll be able to relate to. In this case, it's a resident list for Onyx, so I put Onyx residents. I'm going to update my second list now. I'm taking the same steps as I did before. Upload. Mapping out my fields as I did before. To assure that I have a consistency in my mailing list. Update. Sure enough, here's my mailing list. As you remember before, we said or current residents. There's no reason why we shouldn't put that in there so that the postcard doesn't come back to you. Again, Onyx absentees, naming it something that makes sense. Now I've created it's a very simple postcard. That's another topic altogether, but that's just essentially created a postcard and run through a mailing process with the postcard. So once the postcard is created, it's just a question of going through the wizard. And as shown over here, as you go through the wizard, it shows you the cost. So in this case, I'm going to spend about $90 to reach out to the occupant within the building as well as the absentee owners. As I'm running through the wizard, I am checking each mailing list that I've compiled, and I'm running through the wizard so that the mail out is complete. So it's that simple. It's been tested many times before, and I will say it works well. Chris Bassick with EWM in Miami Beach. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.